So Teresa Rose, the spiritual director, will be our speaker for the day. She is a wonderful individual who's contributed a lot to Lake Harriet's spiritual community, our Center for Conscious Living, and our growth. She's the author of Opening the Kimono. She is a speaker that is very inspirational. She's a motivational speaker. She tours the country giving wonderful talks and motivating others to improve in all kinds of ways. And we are so lucky to have her as our spiritual director. So with that, Teresa Rose.
You may want to take some of that back after you hear me today, but I do want to say for all of those who are here to Christine Day, I have gone to classes and workshops and training programs where I was so excited because I absolutely loved the person that was speaking, and then I get in and then I see another person in the front of the room and my heart sinks. I'm on it down here.
Will you tap your mic?
No, nothing. Pardon me. And Ryan, good job, you fixed it. It's good. I've gone into places where I've wanted so badly to see that person, and then you see their body up there, no matter how beautiful she is. And your heart sinks. And so I want to say with absolute sincerity, with no judgment and not at all any ill will, if you seriously want to get up right now and leave and go have coffee and talk with your friends or do whatever else was second on your list, if you came for Christine, I invite you to do it. Really? No? Okay. Well, thank you for saying. So, I normally do, this is going to be mine, so I'll take that off. I normally do, who has never seen me? If you can just raise your hand, who's never seen me? Okay, interesting. Thank you, and welcome for me. Welcome. Thank you, and welcome. I normally do the first Sunday of every month, and I got a call yesterday morning, late morning, from our esteemed council member, Gary, who helps work with all of the resident speakers and guest speakers, and he said, guess what? Christine's ill. And will you take over? Will you do it tomorrow? I said, sure. And if you saw my presentation last month, it was yes and, the Tao of yes and, remember that? And so I said, yes! And I don't know what I'll do. I have no idea what I'm going to do. But I said yes anyway and hoped that the information would start to present itself. Now, for those of you that have never seen me before, this is not my normal thing, a chair. I'm not a chair gal. I am normally, firecracker here on the stage, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I mean, I could be doing cartwheels in the hall, who knows. But today, for the very first time ever, I'm going to actually use a chair because it's winter cold season here in Minnesota, and I've been sick, just like Christine. And probably, has anybody in your life been sick lately? Anybody? Okay, yes, we all know. So, when I got the news that I was going to pitch it, I said, all right, this is one of those, you call up to Spirit and you say, okay, no goofing around. You better start giving me the data ASAP. And at first I thought, well, I'll just do next week's service this week. No, that's not going to work, so I'm going to actually do next week's service next week, and this week's service I was waiting for. So, I want to tell you a little bit about where I was and how this information came down. Because, of course, it was wrapped in a big, beautiful, juicy package, this message for today. So, I've been sick. And this is round 2 of this sickness. You know how you have it and then it's a ricochet? And sometimes the ricochet one is even harder. It kicks your ass even more. That's what I'm in the second round. Whole family's sick. And I, as a motivational speaker, I had a very, very important event on Friday, 2 days ago. And it was very critical for my business. And it was another showcase, for those of you who remember how nervous I was on Thursday at 10:10 when I was going, ah! This was the same kind of thing that I had on Friday. Another 30 speakers and I. So I'm sick for the whole, I knew I couldn't stay down there. I'm sick all week, you know, going through Kleenex box after Kleenex box. And, you know, the body ache, the fatigue, where you just want to be horizontal, watch Sex and the City all day, every day. That's where I was. And then Friday hit, and I had this big thing I needed to do. Well, anybody who was ever a musician or an actor or a dancer or any sort of trainer or any performer of any kind, if you know it or if you've been it, you know that's just too bad that you don't feel well. You don't call up and say, I'm just not there. You know, you man up. You find your big girl panties, you put them on, you roll up your sleeves, you take the Sudafed, you do the neti pot over and over and over again, and you go, okay, here we go, showtime, right? And on Friday, I did that. And I was just, boom, and you know when you're driving a car, and the car is on fumes, it starts to act kind of weird and funny, but right before it gets serviced and it needs the gas, that's the way it was. It was sort of shaking on the edge. I can do this! And I do it. And then as soon as Friday was over, I wanted to collapse, but my father-in-law, 82-year-old father-in-law from Omaha, had a visit planned this weekend at our home to make up for the visit we couldn't do at Christmas time. So it was a big deal. It's a big deal in the family. Now, how easy is it for you when you're sick to host people? Let me add, how easy is it to, when you're sick, to host people who expect 3 square meals and you don't cook? So, Friday I do the, you know, and I'm feeling, oh, okay, I'm ready to go into bed. And I get home and, you know, there's my father-in-law. And, you know, I actually got my grandmother's apron out, and which he loved, you know. He was like, after 15 years, thank you, God, my son has a decent woman. So I put my apron on, and I'm cooking and doing all this stuff, and I'm just barely hanging in. I mean, really, it's just, boy, do I want to be in bed by myself, no noise, nothing. And then I get up, and my husband, dear Michael, says to my dad, Dad, what do you want to do tomorrow? On Saturday. You know, we're Minneapolis, St. Paul, an interesting part of the world. Where do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Where do you think my father-in-law from Omaha, coming to Minneapolis to go to the biggest tourist attraction, wants to go?
Mall of America.
Mall of America. Mall of America. So I wake up Saturday morning, and I feel like hell. And I lean over to my husband, and it's cold, and you know, it was like 10 that night. Cold, I'm tired, I'm cranky, I'm premenstrual, and I'm not pleasant. And I curve around, and I, have him hold me, and I say, you know what? I want you to know. I want you to know that there is nothing I would rather do least than to go to the effing Mall of America today. But I'm going to go. I'm going to go because I love you. I love you! And he said, I know, honey, thank you so much. You're the best. You're amazing. So I'm getting ready, and it's just I'm getting something to wear. And I'm already psyching myself up because, it's going to be bad. Ever since I was teeny tiny, I realized that I was not good at malls of any kind. Within about 10 minutes of me being at a mall, I slowly devolved into a psycho, where I get really, really angry, and I get really jittery, and I get really intense, and I can almost start to cry sometimes, depending on the energy of a mall. And I realized after going through a lot of my, I know she's not here, I'm sorry, latecomers. Sebastian Jones is still, but I realized after I started to get into spirituality and healing and energy that I'm an empath. Does anybody know what an empath is? Have you ever heard of that? Okay, well, those of you that don't, I'm going to orient you because maybe you are one, you're not really just psycho. You could be psycho too. but you might be an empath. So an empath takes in the energy of the universe and takes in the energy of everyone and everything and feels it. So imagine the difference, if you will. Ladies, you'll really appreciate this. An empath's reaction to Walmart the day after Christmas versus like a nice slow day in the Nordstrom shoe shop. It's nice. It's more pleasant. It's just more pleasant. Because the stuff doesn't attack you so much, right? So we're going to the Mall of America, and I'm an empath, and I'm sick, and I'm premenstrual, and I'm angry, and I'm tired. Yesterday. And then my dear friend Gary calls me and says, "Darling, would you like to do the service tomorrow?" Gary, happy birthday, my friend. Read between the lines. That's how angry I was. So I said, sure. So we get in the car, and we go to the Mall of America, and the parking lot. Who the heck designed the parking lot in the Mall of America? It's crazy town. There's no system. It's Thunderdome in there. 2 cars enter, 1 car leaves. You don't know what's going to happen. You get in. I was in there for 40 minutes. I swear to God, we were in there for 40 minutes to try to just find a parking spot. Just find a parking spot. So I'm in the back seat. You know, my husband and father in the front. My daughter, 10-year-old, is always just like, "Oh, Mom's going to blow. We're going to Mall of America. Oh." So I'm there, and I'm just going, so I'm already feeling the empathetic negative ramifications of being in the Mall of America parking lot. And one guy, we're waiting, we go, "Oh!" Click, we're all like, "Yeah!" And then another guy pulls in. And if my father-in-law and my 10-year-old and my husband weren't in the car, thank God they are, I held the door with the thing just ready to just get, I cannot believe you could be so totally unconscious as to take our parking spot, you idiot! That's what was inside. In the car? Breathe. Get into Mall of America. The place is absolute bedlam. It's packed. It's packed with people everywhere. And you just can't even walk. You can't even walk down the road, and then there's just somebody right there, and somebody right there, and somebody right there, right next to you. And so I'm getting pummeled, right, by all this energy. And I'm so annoyed, and then we get to go into the middle. The corporate sponsor universe. With all of the machines that go so fast. And they're so loud. And people are screaming in a totally tall building that all just echoes right back at you. So we're there, and I was going in my head about all the things that are wrong, how much I hate that place. Because I don't think to myself, I'm having this negative reaction because I'm sick and I'm an empath and I have no energy and the energy is pummeling me. That's not what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking how much I hate everybody. And I'm welcome to church. Thank you. So, love and light, yeah. No. So I'm there, and I'm stinking up the joint with my attitude. And my daughter's in line to go on one of the 4 rides that took 7 hours to go on. And my husband and I are kind of getting into it because he knows that I'm stinking up the joint. And I go, and now I got this like Harriet thing tomorrow. What the hell am I going to talk about? And I said, oh, great, now Christine Day. Let's say I suppose probably should turn it to Christine Day. And living in the sacred moment. Living in the sacred moment. And my husband looks at me kind of in that quizzical sort of, I don't know if I should say I told you so or run look.